Me and an idiot. You mad? The Otman Oustadi show about to start. In 3, 2, 1. Bra, bra, bra.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Otman Oustadi show. My next guest is considered to be the ultimate king of cold approach. Prior to social media, there was only one way to approach women. However, with technology evolving, most men forgot about their primal instinct. And to remind men of something that's intrinsically already in them is Mr. Tristan, aka Tristan Social. Thank you so much, brother, for joining me.
I'm happy to be here, man. Thank you so much for having me. It means a lot.
Yesterday, we were meant to do this.
Yes, yesterday, and then we got rained out. And one thing for me is like being more emotionally attuned of how I'm feeling. And I was about halfway here, and the rain was pouring down really heavy, and then my phone stopped working. I was like, I'm not in the right headspace to make a podcast, and it's not going to be my best personality presented forward. So I think it worked out much better when the sun is shining. I already got a couple approaches in on the way over here, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Fantastic. But the fact that you actually still came, I really respect that, because yesterday was really dangerous to drive a motorbike under such rain.
Yeah, these things are important for me. Like, I enjoy connection. I love, the idea that this is going to be on the internet hopefully longer than I'm around. So this is kind of just all pieces into the pie of, who is Tristan, Tristan Yoder, Tristan Social. So I appreciate the fact that you had an idea in your head, I had an idea in my head, and then we collided inside of the universe, and now we're making the idea a reality.
Yeah,
so
appreciate you, bro. First of all, before we get started, I've got something for you.
Oh!
I don't know if you like this stuff, but yeah. This is some incense, some candles.
This is...
And this is a traditional Indonesian hat.
Hey, bro, this is the first time I've received a gift coming on a podcast, so I'll take it, man.
Yes, sir. That's some sign of appreciation,
Man, let's see this.
This is the traditional Indonesian hat. They use it in the rice fields here in Indonesia.
Look at this. Hey, man, we'll take this. Thank you, good sir. Thank you. That means a lot. I'm going to rock this in the crib. When a girl come over, I'm going to put it on and be butt naked with it. It's just walk out of the bathroom with that on,
Fantastic. All right, let's get straight into it.
Let's run it.
Who's Tristan?
Tristan.
Your mother, sorry, not to cut you off. Your mother originally from Jamaica.
Yep.
Your father from California.
Mm-hmm.
They met in Maryland.
They met in Maryland. Yeah, I did your
sir.
research. Yeah.
Then they moved to California.
Yeah.
And then Tristan was born.
Yes, Tristan was born 1995. Man, Tristan is a man, first and foremost. I'm a man before anything. Creative soul, idea, try to be a big thinker. I am a big thinker. I can always be a bigger thinker. Tristan's a soul that loves taking action and also loves, finding the effortless route. That's kind of one thing that I've been searching for my entire life. My dad used to say, "Oh, you're afraid of work." I'm just like, I find that there's a more efficient way to do things. So have you ever heard the quote, like, if you give a lazy man a job to do, he'll find an efficient way to do it, or something like along the lines of that. Yeah. So if you give a lazy man a hard job, he'll find an easy way to do it, or like the easiest way to do it, because he doesn't want to exert the effort. I'm not saying I'm a lazy man, but I just understand there's usually a better way to do things. And that's kind of how I got into cold approach. I saw the kids that had skateboards have girlfriends. Like, I want to be a skateboarder. Being a skateboarder, it's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world, but I did it. And from that moment on, like, kind of evolved into cold approach in college, cold approach outside of school, cold approach from knocking on doors selling solar panels, and now we made a business out of approaching people and teaching men how to do the same. So
fantastic, great. But how was your childhood? How did you end up doing this for a living?
Well, one of the most influential people in my life was Will Smith. Like, my dad is white, my mom is black. So we grew up in a town called Hemet, California, which for those, you probably haven't heard of it. It's like a city kind of on the way to Las Vegas. If you're going from the ocean, you cut right through to Hemet. And it was a little bit of a more racist environment. Like, they have these things called skinheads or skins. They had like lifted trucks, bro, SRH, like these type of ideologies was white supremacy. And I grew up in this environment where I had to learn how to laugh at myself really quickly. and brush off comments, watch my mom get called the N-word in front of me, and brush off this sort of harsh society. And that's kind of how I formed my identity. Watching Will Smith in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, there's not there. When I was growing up, there weren't too many light-skinned black guys or black guys just in general, eccentric, loud, vibrant we didn't even have the internet realistically on television, which is so crazy to say. It's like So my childhood was good. My mom was a substitute teacher. She was super outgoing. Like if you hear my laugh, you hear my mom's laugh. Rest in peace, her soul.
Rest in peace.
Appreciate that. And yeah, my dad taught me manners. So it's like my mom was a super outgoing, high vibrant, but my dad taught me how to round it out and not come across abrasive or overbearing, or find the fine line between too loud and just loud enough. Yeah.
And then after that, what happened?
Man, I went to college. So when I was 14 or 15, I was at a house party sophomore year, and I remember at the house party, a dude walked in with a fur hood on his jacket and a beautiful girl. And when I saw him walk in, everybody gave him respect. I was like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
100%.
He was the weed man. So I saw that guy, and he's selling weed to the head of the party. I think it was the older brother or something like that, whoever was leading the party. And somebody came up and asked him, "Hey, can I smoke with you guys?" And the weed dealer was like, "No, this is just for me and the leader of the party here, but we can get connected afterwards." And I remember just looking at that respect and being like, "Dang, this guy gets it. This guy understands something that I don't and other people in the party don't understand." So I remembered in that moment right there, I wanted to be the weed man. So I got out of high school at 17 and a half. I started partying at this frat house in Cal State Fullerton, California State University Fullerton, in the summer going into senior or freshman year of college. Started partying with them, started to learn the inner mechanisms, and then freshman year of college I started selling weed, and it was up from there. Learned how to really kind of just understand supply and demand, and this is before everybody and their mom had, it was called med cards. You could just go to a doctor and say, "Hey, I want my back really hurts, doc. I need some weed," and he's just give you two for, it was $40 or something at the time. And from that point, I got really invested into selling packs, moving weed around, being the weed man for the school, more so or less so, and using that as a social tool. When I got into the dorms, I was having sex with a lot of girls. I was hooking up with a lot of girls. A lot of girls knew who I was, and they would say "Oh yeah, you're hooking up with Tristan too." It was a known thing that Tristan was just getting around in the dorms. At that point, this is kind of a really big lore story, but I started dating this girl, not exclusively, friends with benefits. She joined a fraternity, and I fell head over heels, infatuated with her. And when she joined the sorority, I didn't join a fraternity at the time. I didn't think I needed to, or I tried to, and the one that I tried to join was just weak, and I wasn't feeling it for one reason or another. So she went on to the sorority life. I stayed in not fraternity life. And at Cal State Fullerton, if you're not in fraternity, there's not a lot of party options. So she started hooking up with the frat guys. I was still hooking up with my girls, but I was still trying to salvage the relationship of what was. And I started simping super hard over this girl while still hooking up with other girls. And then this opportunities just took a turn, and then we ended up splitting, and then I went kind of not a state of depression, but this was the first girl that I had emotional feelings for and sexual activity with. So a combination of oh, I like this girl and I'm having sex with her. Before it was just sex. And from that point, from that heartbreak, it was I really just want to avoid being heartbroken again. So I didn't have another relationship I wasn't even in a relationship with this girl, to give you a context of it, but my first relationship as an adult was when I was 28 years old, and that lasted about 7 months. And yeah, from that point, now we're here. So it's a little bit of the lore of Tristan Social.
That's very interesting. So you're a dating coach.
Mm-hmm.
This made me think, are you not selling fake confidence to insecure men?
That's a great question, man.
Yeah, because not to cut you off, but you could teach a guy how to approach a girl and maybe just spend a night with her, whatever. However, at the end of the day, it's not really confidence, isn't it?
Okay, so let's define confidence, if you could help me understand what your definition of confidence is.
For example, a man that doesn't need to overthink things, just acts. He thinks about something and he just does it. Believes in himself. That's what I would consider to be confidence.
Could we come to agreement that confidence is arena specific? Like you could be confident one thing and not confident another thing?
Without a doubt.
Okay, so I could be confident at tying my shoes, but changing the engine of a Chevrolet Malibu, I am not confident at all.
I see where you're going with that. As the
Yeah.
knowledge that makes you confident.
So my students and how I break down my school of thought, it's mindset and skill set. So I could teach you the skill set. I could teach you what to say, how to say it, the tonality, and come across it. But if you don't have the mindset to be able to adapt the lessons that I'm giving to you, then you're not really confident. So I love that question. Is it fake confidence? I mean, if it's fake confidence and you still get results, are the results still real?
I like how you answered that. Well done. Well done. I like that. But now we're talking about confidence. So what about if a guy is not attractive?
Attraction's a choice. Have you ever seen those memes where it's like, you're not ugly, you're just broke?
I mean, it makes sense because I guess, yeah.
Have you seen rappers like Nicki Minaj, Gunna, Cardi B before they had all the money?
100%.
And they were like, dang, I would not even look at this dude twice. And then you have rappers that are like super over, like look at Notorious B.I.G. Would you think that he was an attractive person if you just saw him walking down the street?
But he had that swag on him.
But he had that swag on him. So attraction's a choice. Like the Tate brothers talk about this. It's like you can't really control how tall you are unless you want to do like the leg lengthening surgery. But I mean, I control what I wear. I control how I smell. I control how much I go to the gym. I control what tattoos I have on my skin. I control, my teeth. I think the biggest simple hack, if you want to go from a 6 to an 8 or a 4 to a 6, get your teeth fixed, bro. Get whitening at least. If you get some braces, if you want to knock all your teeth out, get veneers. I'm not mad at whatever you do, but the biggest focal point when you're talking to somebody and when you're kissing somebody and when you're going down on somebody, giving oral sex to somebody, your mouth. Yeah, your mouth. You ever see a girl that has like a beautiful facial structure, and then she opens her mouth, and you're like, oh.
That's interesting how you're bringing out so many things that I usually overlook.
Bro, it's when you come into the game, it's there's levels to it. I know I have the title of King of Cold Approach, but man, like my boy Mystery, my boy Baxter, they've been doing it for 25 years. To give you context, I'm 29. So these guys from the game, like Neil Strauss, those guys, they've been doing it longer than most men that are, that I'm teaching have been alive. So they have taught me so much about game. They taught me so much about question asking, active listening. So I get excited talking about it because I'm a year and a half in realistically into like the coaching element of it. But I see these guys, 25 years. You do anything for 25 years, you're going to gain mastery of it. Whether it's you could watch TV for 25 years and gain mastery of it.
However, we don't live forever. After 25 years, they might get a bit old. They won't be as attractive anymore.
You ever seen a 50-year-old man pick up a 21-year-old Russian girl?
Doesn't that look a bit miserable? No? Because it feels like they're lonely and... Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how it comes across. A 50, 60-year-old that in a club. I don't think it's ideal.
Well, that's valid. That perspective is valid, but how it looks and how it feels are completely two different things. You could look at that guy and be like, "Oh, I feel sorry for him," and then you are that guy and you're like, "I feel great. Like I'm 50 years old picking up a 21-year-old Russian girl, and look at me, man."
Interesting. How do you teach men to handle rejection? Because I feel like that's the biggest issue to overcome as a man, and if they're able to handle that, they'll become unstoppable essentially, because they realize that it's okay to be told no, right?
Yeah, it comes into mental reframes. Like we get rejected every single day, and you don't even realize it in the context of it. But to give you an example, say we're driving in a car, you and me are in a car, and I put my blinker on to turn left, and the car behind me doesn't allow me to go left. They go speed in front of me. He rejected me. He said, "Hey, I'm not going to accept your advance with this left turn. I'm going to go in front of you so that you could go behind me." Do I feel bad about getting rejected in that arena?
No, I mean, you might feel a bit angry, but
here's the thing. It is what it is. But we get rejected all the time. It's like we raise our hand and the waiter, says, "Oh, we'll be right back. I'll come over in a second." That's a rejection. Like there's so many different areas that we get rejected every single day. But because it's a romantic element and it's more of a personal feeling, that it feels like, oh, it hurts. So a couple mental reframes that I love to approach it with are, she's not rejecting you, she's rejecting your game plan. So it removes that sort of personal feeling to it. So how you dress, how you present, how you talk to a girl, the opening line that you use, it's all a game plan that you're employing. She doesn't know you well enough to reject you. She doesn't know Otman enough to reject Otman. She just sees what it is, the game that you're presenting here, and then how you're going ahead and moving forward with it. It's like, if you lose a basketball game, did you get rejected on the court? No, you got beat by a better team. And you got to look at it like that instead of getting mad at the game, learning the game. And a lot of guys will say, "Oh, these modern women, they only respect money, or they don't want love, or like she's for the streets, X, Y, and Z." Bro, when I'm outside in the streets, and there's a lot of quality women that would love to settle down with me. Like the amount of options once you surpass all of the menial conversations at the bottom of the barrel and you start just getting outside and living in life, there's so many high quality women that would jump, as you probably know. There's so many beautiful women in the world that are looking for love, attention, that are desiring a deep connection with somebody. But the mass programming of the media wants us all to believe that everybody's miserable and that there's no real connections out there, and the only way to fall in love is through a dating app. And I'm just a small voice in the corner that says, hey, there's a different, better way to go about it. There's people actually happy out here if you just stop. You turn off the TV. You turn off, the mass programming that's happening to the world.
I wish there was some sort of title for this type of cold approach, because it feels like almost being a doctor in the subject.
Sure. So I like to say this. It's like, whoever you learn from, you're going to model. And some guys, I had somebody make a video about me. He's like, oh, this guy knows nothing about cold approach. He's always laughing. He's a jester. He's making fun. And it's never serious. I'm like, well, that's just like everyday life for me. I'm just a happy guy. It's who I am. If you want to follow that guy's example, you have a more serious game. By all means, I wish you well. But at the end of the day, you choose the play style that is more conducive for you. And your play style is going to be different than mine, different than his, different than that person's, because we have different experiences.
That's very interesting. Are most men dating problems caused by society or their own laziness? Because you did mention that society is portraying everybody as very, miserable. And what do you think?
Dude, I don't think any man, if you're going to claim the title of man, can put any problem outside of himself.
Okay. Self-accountability.
Self-accountability is one of my big standpoints that I stand on. And here's the thing. It's if there's people succeeding, there's no reason for you not to succeed. If there's somebody winning at the game, then it's on you as a man to figure out what that winning formula is and adapt it to your own play style. So I can't say it's harder. Is the dating scene different than 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago? Yeah, definitely. It's going to be different 5 years in the future, 10 years in the future, 15 years and 20 years in the future. But there's still going to be people winning. There's still going to be people that are, fulfilled inside of their dating lives. And regardless if society makes it, quote unquote, easier or harder, because these are subjective claims. Like, it's easier for who, harder for who. At the end of the day, you could say, oh, dating apps made dating harder for people. But for the guy with a disability, physical disability that couldn't go outside and, is kind of bedridden, there's whole apps built for disabled people that want connection with each other that weren't around beforehand. Is dating easier or harder for that guy?
Interesting. It's perspective.
It's perspective, yeah. I love this topic. I get off on this, man, because human connection is like my favorite topic. 100%. I love it.
You seem very educated in the subject.
It's a lot of like in real world experience and practice.
Yeah. What about women that make the first move? What do you think about that? I mean, personally, before you,
because
you're the master, right? I find it unattractive.
I can see why.
If a woman steps to you, I don't know, it doesn't matter how beautiful she is, it's a turn off. What do you think?
Help me understand your thinking behind that. Like, I have something that I try and live by, and when I remember to, it's like I never disagree with somebody until I understand their reasoning behind it. So what's your reasoning behind?
I feel like it's just a natural instinct. I don't know. If a woman she's biologically not made to step out of her comfort zone to come and approach me. I'm supposed to be the man. I'm supposed to be the one come into her and speak to her, right? However, if she approaches me, how many other guys is she approaching, right?
That's a question to be aware of. I would just be careful with the phrase "supposed to," because "supposed to" is different to every single human being. If we go to Dagestan, men are supposed to shave their mustache, have a full beard, and are supposed to have one wife for their entire lives, or whatever they're supposed to is supposed to be. So I give kudos to the women that go ahead and approach. Personally, I'm undecided about how I personally feel about it, like how I would react. Like, would I consider this person a viable mate for me long term? Different story. But what I see in the current dating landscape is like a woman that's not willing to wait for an opportunity to be presented to her, and a person that seizes what they want, and I can only respect that. As a man who is an entrepreneur, as you probably understand yourself, opportunities come and they go, and sometimes they don't come back. So I mean, if you look at it from that lens of like, hey, this is an opportunity. I'm a salesperson. I'm going to sell my product, which is me, to a possible buyer, then by all means, knock it out of the park. But how I feel about a girl coming up and approaching me personally, I'll accept it. I'll think, oh, wow, this girl knows what she wants and she's choosing me. I'll appreciate that. But, you know, the question does arise, how many guys is she approaching? What?
That's the biggest turn off, to be fair. It's not even about the way she looks. It's just, I don't know.
Sure. And then one thing that I love about humanity is like everybody's using their best thinking. Like there are no crazy people. I learned this from a book called The Psychology of Money. There's no such thing as a crazy person, because your experiences and how you react to and you use money, you use relationships, you use communication, it all makes sense to you, and it all makes sense to me, my, you know, thought process and behaviors and actions behind it, because it's like we're only using the information that has been given to us from society, from experience, from personal observation. So I very, very, very seldom will say, oh, that's crazy, or that idea is wrong, until I really understand the thinking behind it. And the way that you put it, it's like, well, if I'm the prize and I'm the man, oh yeah, a question to you. Do you think that you're the prize?
I'll speak for men in general. Men are born with no value. And then the more they work on themselves, the more valuable they become.
Fair.
If they work hard enough, they become the prize. If they don't work hard enough, they're not going to be the prize. At one point in life, all men have experienced rejection. Nobody wanted you. Once you work hard enough on yourself, you start seeing the table turning.
I would argue in favor of you. I would say you are the prize. And I would argue that because you've done a certain amount of work, that if somebody with no experience, no background inside of X, Y, and Z field that you're confident in, because we said confidence is arena specific, they could come in and they could learn really valuable life lessons from you. Do you feel like if a girl came into your life, you could change her thought process, her way of thinking, the way that she conducts business, the way that she conducts herself in a more positive manner?
100%.
I think so too. So if you know that you can provide these values to this person, whoever it would be, and you know that you're the prize internally, why would you hold it against a girl to look at you and be like, wow, this is a prize?
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Never looked at it from that perspective. Since we're on this topic, why is it okay for women to have preferences versus why are men getting ashamed for theirs?
For preferences in...
As in, a man can say, I want my man to be tall, muscles, 6 foot, whatever, millionaire. However, as a man, you can't say, I don't want my girl to be fat, for example. You're going to get ashamed for that. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's noise. Like, there's a good quote from Rick and Morty. Actually, I don't watch
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I don't watch it, but I saw it in somebody's Instagram bio. I was like, wow, this makes so much sense. It's like, your boos mean nothing to me. I've seen what makes you cheer. So it's like, I don't want my woman to be fat. Boo, misogynistic, you're a piece of shit. Okay, if I just turn them down, I don't listen to them, well, still my preferences are my preferences. I still don't want my girl to be fat. Like, regardless what you say about it or what society says about it, I still have my preferences.
My point was, why is there this difference? Why are men getting ashamed for their preferences, in your opinion?
Because I think it's a swing back of power. So for X number of years, I don't know how to put a number to it, men were like, you know, what man says goes. And if you were more powerful, if you had more status, if you had more money, if you had more X, Y, and Z, that's what the final line was, and other people would have to deal with it. Now, because of social media, because of a swing back of power, cancel culture, this is why what I do, it used to be so controversial.
100%.
Like, if I tried to do my videos back in 2016 when the Me Too movement was happening, oh my God, I would get ran out of town. People would literally, they would come and find me. Like
100%.
we're in a different world now. But what happens is, like, when you have somebody in power, and then they become out of power, it's like they can't do anything right anymore. So back in the day, back in 1980s, we say, "Oh yeah, I don't want my woman to be fat." Yeah. Like everybody agree with that. What the fuck?
100%.
But now it's like participation trophies. It's like, no, you can't say that because it's gonna make somebody feel bad. So like, well, maybe they should just stop being fat. Maybe that if they didn't have the identity of a fat person, that comment would not affect them.
100%.
It's like, say there's only a populated percentage of the population that has blue hair. It's like, I don't want my woman to have blue hair. All women without blue hair will be like, oh yeah, fuck blue hair. But the small percentage of people that have blue hair, it's like, he's fucking hair racist, or like he's XYZ, he's a hairist. Like, oh, he's such a misogynistic, blah 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 blah. But what I think is because men were just like iron fisting it for so long that now that there's more avenues, more channels, more voices for minorities, not necessarily speaking in a racial group sense, but just like a smaller percentage of people, you'll find that minority, like people that in the minority, like I'm not saying minorities in a racial sense, but people that had a smaller voice before are being over boisterous to the point where they're trying to swing back power. Like we had 0% power before, now we want 150%.
Oh no, we're trying to get back to the middle. Interesting. Would you consider yourself as toxic?
I consider myself as toxic. I would consider myself as a man that cares, a man that can help build somebody, but still having. Have you heard of a book called what's it? King, Warrior, Magician, Lover?
No, I haven't.
It's a cool book on male psychology, and there's two different versions. You have boy psychology and then man psychology. And before the current age that we lived in, we had actual rituals to turn a boy into a man. Like they would send the boy into the woods with a stick and a piece of flint and have him come back as a man. Like there were actual rituals where there were ritual leaders, ayahuasca, plant medicine, these types of initiations into manhood. We don't have that anymore. So would I consider myself toxic? Absolutely not. I consider myself somebody that if I love somebody, I pour into them, I give into them. But I still have, some boyish psychology, which allows me to express love in a way that's not necessarily healthy 100% of the time. It's more of a boyish instead of a mannish. And I'm doing the work now to kind of understand that better, reading books such as that, doing shadow work to allow myself to express that love in a more healthy manner instead of like a boyish manner.
The reason why I asked if you're toxic, it's because approaching so many women, wouldn't you agree that you would ruin some of these women's future? Especially by having them on camera, you could jeopardize their futures, don't you think?
Sure. There's an element of that, and I try and be wary and conscious of that. The element of it is, it's like if you watch any of my videos, you'll never see somebody frown. Like there's never a person frowning. There's always people smiling, and if she gives me her phone number and she has a boyfriend, okay, there's consequences and repercussions to those actions. I understand that completely. But in my videos, I've never put somebody in jeopardy of losing their job or losing X, Y, and Z. You got to be conscious of these things. Like I recently got into a tiff with another content creator who literally posted a video of him meeting a girl at the airport where she worked, and then how they went on the date and how he went back to her place and like has in the video of her putting her pants back on. And it's like, for me, that's just way too much disclosure. Like leave something to the imagination, leave something. But that could be the pot calling the kettle black. It's like, they could also be, oh, he's the biggest hypocrite because he gets girls' numbers. Who am I to say?
I mean, don't get me wrong. If she gives you her number and she has a man, she gets recorded, she kind of deserves it.
And then there's that perspective too.
I mean, but for the girls that are actually doing nothing bad, I don't know. I feel like that might be a bit too much over the line.
Yeah, and that's a question that you have to ask yourself. It's like, where is the moral compass? Where is the moral line? I try and, preach to other content creators, get consent when you're filming, because it just makes the whole process easier. Not in a social media sense, but in a moral sense. Because when I first started doing my videos, like, this is the version 2 of the glasses. I had the version 1s, and it was just so much easier to record in stealth. It was just, you'd have no clue, no idea. And it's just so much easier as a content creator just to put the video up and then just like block the person that's trying to message you. Hey, please take it down. Please take it. It's so much easier. It's so much easier. Believe
Okay, I
me.
see.
But as somebody that's like consciously aware and I could feel the energy,
Feel bad.
and it's a lack of abundance mentality to think like, oh, this video got 1 million views. Why would I take it down? It's like I was saying, are you not capable of making 10 more videos that are going to get another 1 million views with somebody that's actually consenting to be on camera? So.
You mentioned that you use those glasses. How does it work?
Yeah, man. So there's a camera right here,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and there's an LED right here. And people are like, oh, you got to put the cover. Yes, I know. You put the cover on over the LED light. So what you do is you go like this, you press and record, and then it records. I can start it right now, actually.
Okay.
Let's see. Going back in. So because I covered the camera right here, the glasses think that it's dark out. So it's like essentially this light and this light are matching in light frequencies.
Okay.
So now it's recording, and now
Oh, wow. And I can't even
there's no visual
Fantastic.
representation of it.
Wow.
But underneath here is LED light that's like blinking right
blinking.
now.
Okay.
So-
Okay. And you covered it with some sort of tape. Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And since we're on topic, how do you deal with women's emotions in general?
Can you give me a
I don't know,
contextual
how-
situation or
Every woman is different.
sure?
How do you break her walls and get through her?
It depends, like societally and like culturally. There's different ways for different places. I find that one thing I love is misdirection. Like acting a little bit confused, like maybe like a confused old man. Like I'll walk up to a girl and be like, "I'm so sorry. Can you help me real quick? I'm a little bit lost. I was trying to like find the directions to your heart. If you could help me with that." And what happens is it draws them in. It's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be happy to try and help this person." It's kind of like masking intentions so that you can actually get a pure interaction across.
That's a nice pickup line. That's very interesting. But every woman is different, so that pickup line might not work for everybody. What I'm saying is, how do you understand the woman that's in front of you, and how do you deal with her accordingly? I believe every woman is different, so the approaches will be different for every single one of them.
Yeah, and I think one of the big standpoints, I think probably even the biggest standpoint that I talk about in my programs is data collection. It's
Data
like,
collection,
yeah.
Okay.
You have, if you have thousands of experiences, you have thousands of data points that you can collect data from and then look at and observe. It's like I could take a look at this girl right here and see that she's wearing her hair in this fashion. She has a nose ring. She has yoga pants. I would approach it like the other girls that had the hair in this fashion, the yoga pants, and the nose ring. But if this girl's a little bit like more like this, and the thing is, until you have those data points, until you build up that repertoire of like back knowledge that you can understand, because everybody's different, but we're all kind of the same in a different, like we have archetypes. It's like you have the hardworking man, you have the lazy man, you have the scared man, you have the courageous man. There's not so many different types of men. Everybody's unique, but they fall underneath certain umbrellas. And if you start to understand people a little bit better, like I can listen to a man, and this is actually my pride coming out, and you'll see if somebody wanted to use this against me. Men are our whole society was built on men with ego. And if you really want to, women do this all the time because they can't use physical power, but they understand that if I want to make a man do what I say or do what I'm thinking, I'll play to his ego. And I just watch my ego come out. Like I can understand that if I listen to a man and how he speaks about himself and his business, that if I conflate his ego and I, do a little bit of it's like social manipulation, but understanding like, oh yeah, that sounds really noble of what it is that you're doing. Like, you have an impact on people's lives. Like you have a podcast playing to his ego. I can then get him on my side and make him an ally instead of an enemy. So with that being said, like you can listen, there's information like, there's one thing that I am going to invest in the future is like CIA understanding of body language and then the visual cues that people give off. So like if I look at a girl and she has a gold cross necklace, okay, well, there's some sort of relation to the Christian faith. There's some sort of relation to the color of gold instead of the color of silver, the color of bronze. There's some sort of information there that I can glean. I could look at you, well put together. You know, you have the chain on, you have the Van Cleef, you have the Rolex. I could put together that you hold yourself in high esteem, and then I could start to maneuver the conversation in a way that kind of plays to your sense of purpose, your sense of presentation, who you are. And the same way, you could take a look at somebody that's been wearing the same fucking shirt for 6 days in a row. Every time you see that person, they're wearing the same shirt and his breath smells like alcohol. He has a lower sense of esteem. And I could play on that. And once you start seeing it kind of like a poker match, a poker game, there's always information being given without a single word being portrayed. So once you understand it on that level, it's like, oh, it's an actual game.
All these informations that you're collecting, you're doing it in a split second, because if you have a girl in front of you, you won't be able to stay there for too long and hesitate before you approach her. You have to do it instantly. Because I don't know about yourself, but when I used to do it, my heart would start beating fast if I don't act fast.
Mm-hmm.
You see her, you approach. And within that time frame, you collect all these informations. That's very interesting. That's how you collect informations that fast. Incredible.
Yeah, and it comes from experience. Like you had Rosalind on a previous podcast. He could speak to this. Like when you're in a boxing match or you're in like a fight, you get into so many fights. You start to see patterns. You start to understand. Like when you're in a fight with somebody for your first time, you cannot understand their patterns because there's so much happening and your heart is racing so fast and you have so much adrenaline. But once you have 100 fights, you can start to predict, oh, he's going to go with the left kick. Oh, he's going to throw his right overhand, because it's almost like you could see it in slow motion because you've seen it so many times before and you have that data collection. And one thing that really helps me is like going back on my approaches and doing YouTube video breakdowns of them. And I could see, like, because I have a paused image of this person, oh, okay, I should have talked about this. I should have talked about this. He could have brought this up. I could have done this. Oh my goodness. And then you take that data, process it, put in a little piggy bank inside of your brain, and then you have a little bit more that you can walk into the world with. But that comes from time under tension. It's like literally going to the gym.
Why would you do it?
Since I'm horny. I like the feeling.
You're a man.
I'm a man. On an emotional sense, it's like, we all search for a little bit of validation externally. Like if a beautiful girl is willing enough to give you her body, which is like her most sacred possession, something that she only has one of, then that's like, oh, it's a validation tool. And then, there's a societal claim, oh, you should never seek outside validation, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's way easier to say that than it is to actually live it in actual livelihood. So the reason I approach them, one, because it's fun. I enjoy it. 2, I like attention. 3, I love the chase, the thrill. I love, getting that validation. 4, I mean, there's probably trauma underneath that. It's like, oh, maybe my mom didn't love me enough in my perspective, or X, Y, and Z. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm going to explore in the future. But in the current sense, it's like a enjoyable act. I mean, you used to do it, so you understand. It's like when you're with the boys and he's like, oh, go talk to that girl, you chat her up, and then she has her friends and they join the group. It's like, you ever been to a party where it's all dudes? It's like, it's not really a party. It's just like, it's like a business meeting at that point. I sometimes do stand-up comedy, and one joke that I have, it's like, God took 6 days, created the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, the sea, everything that we see in this world today, took some dust, created Adam, looked around and said, you know what we need in this? We need some women up in here, bro, because it's getting a little lonely. So,
very interesting how you recognize your weaknesses, and by that, you recognize what drives you. A lot of people don't allow themselves to recognize those weaknesses, and they're ego-driven, and they think they're all perfect, and I think that's something that stops them from performing, essentially, and becoming a better version of themselves.
Yeah, I think martial arts, psychedelics, reading, these all things that put me into a place that, and chess as well. Oh,
chess.
I love playing chess. We got connected through playing chess.
That's what I met you, yeah.
So it's like you can have your ego and you can lose, or you could drop your ego and you can get better and you could win.
100%.
So chess is one of those things. It's like, I love chess so much, man, because you can't use physicality on the board. Like, that's a 12-year-old girl that you're playing against right there, and she's kicking the dog
She
poop
beat
out of
me.
you. Yeah,
You can go. She smoked you in like 3 minutes.
And you're like, I could beat you up, but that's not the game that we're playing. That's not the game that's
100%.
being played. So in that regard, like you're forced to drop your ego. And the same with like martial arts and fighting. It's like, like that guy is way smaller than you, but he's popping you in the face because you drop your hand every single time. It's
Mind
like,
games.
what are you gonna do? You're either gonna get better or you're gonna keep getting punched in the face.
Do you think modern society is making men weak?
I think that there's a general mass programming to destroy from the inside out. I think that a disrupted man is an easy man to control. So that's those vices. That's gambling. That's pornography. That's lust. I contributed that to society in a sense. I'm not ignorant of that. Alcohol, drugs, all these things. When you disconnect a man from source, when you disconnect a man from purpose, when you disconnect a man from community, he's a very easy man to control and to divide. And I think that at the top, the super elites, man, I've been watching a little bit of conspiracy theories on Instagram. And with AI, like ChatGPT, it came out in 2022 or something like that. But the CIA and the global elites, they've had that from 1994, 1995. So if you imagine, like, that's just the time period that the civilian window was granted. Like, if you think about it, if they had that technology for 20 years, and they've been running that technology for 20 years, think about it like this, like drones. You remember when drones came out and you could do like videography from drones? Like, this is the craziest thing ever. What year was that? Say, call it 2010 or something like that. But the government had drones since 1990.
Wow.
So if you think about it from that regard, like,
Imagine what they have now.
think about it. We're on a 20-year backlog from, the super elites, from the governments, like, if they had some of the conspiracy theories I've been watching, it's like if they had artificial intelligence for 20 years, they've already ran all of the simulations on how to control us, how to overcome our objections, how we panic, how we handle situations under stress. If we cut off the electricity, if they cut off the water supply, if they cut off all of these things, we're kind of sitting ducks here a little bit. So I think, yes, it's not society. It's, a few decision makers at the top that are looking at the situation and being like, okay, this is the easiest way to control somebody. One world government, central banking digital currency. We can turn off somebody's cash flow. Like, if they deem it unworthy, like, oh, you ate too much meat this year. You're cut off, your carbon, you're too much of a threat to society. And for society's sake, you can only eat corn and, malnutritioned diet from now on because you ate too much meat. And they're calling in the name of safety. So do I think society is being, conditioned? No, I think it's a couple of people at the top. Or by a couple, I mean, relatively speaking, a couple of people that are making decisions for the global. And if we live in a truly capitalistic society, it's kind of like tough luck. It's like, they got the power, they ran the game, and it's a dog-eat-dog world. I don't mean to come across as morbid or kind of like it's spelled M-A-C-A-B-R-E, macabre or something like that. But it's like that's just the world that we live in. It's more of a realistic approach. Like, not necessarily everybody save himself, but
That's one way of looking at it. Also, by disrupting traditional values, the government benefits because now not only the head of the family is working, also the woman goes out and works. I feel like that's one of the reasons why they push so much on femininity, to not only have the men to work, but also the woman. And now we have double taxation. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Absolutely. So think about it like this. We had 24 hours in a day. 8 of those were sleeping. And when we went through childhood, 8 of those were spent, or 8 or longer, were spent in a school system, disconnected from the parents. So 8 hours sleeping, 8 hours in school, and then 8 hours of fun or free time or leisure or whatever it is that we're calling. But those last 8 hours are the least powerful during the day because we're tired from the 8 hours. So if parents aren't raising their kids, who's raising the kids? The school system. And what are they raising them to be? Whatever they want them to be. And what happens is when you have somebody at the top and everybody's too tired at the bottom to fight back, oh yes, just please sir, can I have another piece of chicken? Please sir. And like there's no willpower to fight back against the system. Compliance, yeah.
Interesting. Not only you help men become more confident with approaching women, you also encourage them to work out,
Oh,
train
yeah.
hard, quit smoking, quit drugs. Tell me about that. That's very interesting. Not many people do that anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a really good book. I like referring back to books a lot. It's Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
You read a lot of books.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
yeah,
interesting. We'll get back to that. Anyway.
yeah. But I mean, this book was written, I think it's like the 50s or the 40s, or maybe even earlier, somewhere around that time period. But Napoleon Hill, have you heard of Think and Grow Rich?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the author of Think and Grow Rich wrote a book, Outwitting the Devil. And the devil was like, if you want to control society, get them addicted to alcohol, get them addicted to drugs, get them addicted to tobacco.
And this is from the 40s.
This is from the 40s.
Wow.
And they talked about this, like the same talks that we had about the schooling system, the same talks that we had about, the government taking over the housing unit and, controlling familial units. Same thing that they talked about in this book from close to 100 years ago. So if you wanted to control somebody's thought-making and decision-making process, you would make their attention span super short, and you would make them dependent on stimulants such as tobacco, such as alcohol. And what happens is it's like, this is why I think journaling is so powerful, because it allows me to have a train of thought that spans a page instead of the average attention span. Think about it. If we have a conversation, if we're watching Instagram reels, 20 seconds. That's like average, because you have, super short, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. You have long, 1.5 to 3 minutes, somewhere between the 20 to 30 second range. If somebody's entire focus can only range for 30 seconds, what benefit or value do they have to a grand vision? Like, how big can your purpose be? How big can your vision be if you're limited to a 30-second thought process? And this is why, companies like Apple, this is why governments, this is why those elites at the top are just kicking the dog, like, forgive me for cursing, but kicking the dog shit out of the competition, because their vision is 30 years, 50 years, grand programming for hundreds of years, millennium. And like, if you think about it, like that, if I wanted to control the world, I would have everybody make a super short attention span. I would have them addicted to drugs that I produce, that I manufacture, and I would control the supply. And if I wanted my bloodline to be guaranteed to go through, I control all the resources, I control the power, I control the water, I control the oil, I control the means of production and the means of distribution, and I wanted everybody else fighting for scraps.
Shouldn't you be careful to talk about such topics? I mean, you could put yourself in danger, especially now that you have a big platform. You're not a small fish anymore.
Sure, but I think, through my usage of psychedelics, marijuana even being a psychedelic, one of the there's few things worse than death, and being silenced is one of them.
Okay, tell me about it.
Yeah, so if I'm silenced and I have fear of speaking out on what I think is true in any manner, that is worse than death, because when I'm dead, I can't. But if I'm alive and I can, but I can't.
I see.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And here's the thing too. It's like, they'll call back to my past. Like, oh, he's just a pickup artist. Like, blah 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 blah. The same thing that happened to Andrew Tate. It's like, oh, he's a human trafficker, X, Y, and Z. He did all these terrible things. Okay, no convictions have ever been made in these. It's all hearsay. It's all press. So what they'll do is, first they'll ignore you, and then they'll discredit you, then they'll demonize you, and then they'll destroy you. So first it's like, oh, he doesn't even exist. No. But then they'll discredit you. So, oh, he did this in the past. They did this in the past. He's not worthy of what he is that he's talking about because of this, and this. And then if you keep going, then they'll demonize you. And it's like, oh, he's the worst person in the entire world. Not only did he do this, but, he has this against him, he's this against him, he's this against him. And if they still don't stop talking, then
They'll kill you.
Yeah. So I believe in truth. I believe in like justice, like on a deeper intrinsic level. There's people that are light workers, people that were sent to this world to kind of expand the consciousness. And if they kill me because of it, oh, well.
Like I said, it
is what it is, man. I was gonna go out anyway, so.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
On social media, you portray that you're always approaching women, and however, in real life, you seem to be on your purpose. You seem more disciplined. However, on social media, it looks like all you do is just have fun, probably go clubbing, approach women, sleep till midday. Tell me about it. How is the real Tristan behind cameras? What do you do on a daily basis?
The real Tristan does have fun like that. The real Tristan, it's like kind of like a WWE character in a sense. I relate back so many lessons in life to WWE, and like I play a character online. I'm TristanSocial, but Tristan Yoder, he's a thinker. He likes Tristan Yoder has a lot of flaws too. He has a lot of flaws in his character. He's not a perfect human being by not even any stretch of the imagination. But some things that I do enjoy in life, I love YouTube videos. I love connecting with people. I love going outside, talking. I love sunshine. I love, water. Like, these are things that are really, like, big standpoints for me. But I think I don't think I could live without a social ability, and I don't think I could live without sunshine. Those are two things that I really I could.
Back to basics.
But those are my big basics right there. Am I warm, and am I around people that I enjoy to be around?
Fantastic. What's next for you? Any plans or goals for the future? Now you hit that 1 million followers. Well, what's next to you?
Yeah, big plans, man. We have some really cool programs being rolled out. Some really transformational stuff. I'm really confident in my ability as a coach to help guys. Like, I understand what my target market is now. Guys that are successful in other areas of life, whether it be business, whether it be physical, whether it be financial, and helping them become successful approaching women. Like, it's why I'm an approach coach and not necessarily a dating coach, because dating is so broad. You got long relationships, long distance relationships, breakups, marriages. Like, there's so much that goes into dating. But for me, in my little corner of the internet, if you want to learn how to approach women, especially in the daytime, on the beach, at the cafe, at the grocery store, on the street, you go ahead and you find Tristan, because he's one of the best in the world at it.
Wouldn't you say that that's the easiest way to approach a woman? Because now you're not in competition with anybody. I mean, during the day, that's when women gets approached the least. It's unbelievable, because everybody's looking forward to go to the club where all the men are there.
Yeah.
To the gym. However, during the day, at the coffee shop, at the supermarket, on the beach, men don't have enough balls to do it. Therefore, if you do it, guess what? 9 times out of 10, you'll succeed. So wouldn't you think that it's almost useless to do that?
How do you mean useless?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's not necessary to teach men how to approach women during the day, because it's the easiest way of approaching women, essentially. It's not like you're teaching me how to do it in the club when I'm in competition with other men. You're teaching me to do it on a day-to-day basis, like during the day when essentially I'm not in competition with nobody. It's just me and her.
That's you said it. You're in competition with yourself.
That's right. Okay. Brother, I'm trying to get you, but every time you come back with the perfect answer.
There's a lot of correlations to sports, but the cool thing about running, a lot of the top athletes will say, it's the hardest sport because it's you versus you. When you're running and it's just you and it's your mind and you could stop whenever it is that you want, that's the hardest. When you're wrestling or when you're fighting somebody, it's like you can use like a backdrop to like compare your efforts to. But when you're just running to run, it's like there's nobody keeping score. It's just you versus you. And that's what the biggest thing with cold approach is during the daytime. It's like you can't pregame going to the grocery store. Like, oh, you see a cute girl walking outside, let me down some alcohol real quick and get my liquid courage up. So it's you versus you. And it's like when you have, and that's why the club game is like so competitive. It's because so many guys rely on that liquid courage to go ahead and make their conversation skills better, their courage more amplified. So inside of like a sober setting where there's sunlight and there's nowhere to hide, it's not a dark, crowded club, and you can like, if you get rejected, you could just, slink off into the corner. It's like, okay, it's you versus you.
100%. Is there anything else you would like to share?
Yeah. If you have a dream, chase it. Create action. Like, congratulations to you for starting your podcast and making it. Bro, you got me, you got Rosalind, you got Ibrahim, you got all these, notable names just because you opened your mouth and asked and made, progress towards attacking a goal. I would say anybody that listened, especially to this point of the podcast, you made it all the way to the end of the podcast. Start just taking actions, taking more actions. Action is going to be your best friend in making your dreams come true. And the reason you have the dream is to make it true.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. The universe, I'll end it with this. The universe that we live in is not a universe of teasing, it's a universe of pleasing, but you have to work for that pleasure.
Some wise words there.
Mm-hmm.
Brother.
I appreciate you greatly, Otman. It's been a
was
good
such
day.
Pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for coming.
The pleasure was mine. believe me.
Wishing you all the best and hope to see you soon.
Thank you for the gifts too. It's the first time I've gotten gifts on a podcast. so it means
Fantastic,
a
I'm
lot.
glad. Yo! It's Otman again. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to never miss a valuable episode.